They thought it was just a normal Friday night, a heated pool, no parents at home, and a little teenage freedom. But in the middle of their fun, a shadow moved inside the house. And by the time they realized what was happening, it was already too late. I was 17, the first time I truly understood fear. Not the kind you get from a horror movie or a spooky story told around a campfire. I'm talking about the kind of fear that crawls under your skin, that leaves you feeling like your own home has betrayed you. It was a Friday night in early spring, and my parents had left for the weekend. They were visiting friends in another state, which meant for the first time in a long time, I had the house all to myself. Well, almost to myself. My girlfriend, MJ, came over to keep me company. The night started out perfect. We ordered pizza, blasted music way too loud, and enjoyed the rare freedom of having no adults around to tell us to quiet down. Around midnight, MJ suggested something I never would have expected. "Let's go skinny dipping," she said with a mischievous grin. Now, I wasn't about to argue. My parents' pool was heated, the air was crisp, and the idea of sneaking out into the night would have felt rebellious in all the right ways. So we stripped down, ran outside, and dove into the steaming water. For a while, it was just fun and laughter. The surface of the pool reflected the moonlight, and the steam rose like a dream. We were teenagers, caught in that fleeting moment between childhood and adulthood, where the world felt ours to conquer. But then everything changed. The shadow. I was leaning against the side of the pool, catching my breath, when I saw it, out of the corner of my eye, behind the glass, sliding door that led into the kitchen. Something moved. At first, I thought it was just a reflection of the water. But then it happened again. A shadow. A person. I froze. "MJ," I whispered sharply. "Someone's in the house." She laughed nervously, splashing at me. Very funny. But I didn't laugh. I just stared, because I knew what I saw. The figure moved across the kitchen slowly, as though they weren't in a rush, like they knew we couldn't stop them. MJ followed my gaze. The blood drained from her face. "Oh my God!" Panic hit me, but some instinct kicked in at the same time. I told MJ to get out of the pool and hide in the backyard, behind the shed. I climbed out, dripping wet, adrenaline racing through me. My first thought, weapons. I ran to the outdoor grill, where I knew there was a small knife we sometimes use for steaks. It wasn't much, but it was better than nothing. I slid the glass door open and stepped inside. The air felt heavier, colder, like the house itself was holding its breath. "Who's there?" I shouted, trying to sound braver than I felt. Nothing. I crept through the kitchen, every step leaving wet footprints on the tile. The lights were still on. The room was exactly how we had left it, except no one was there. I searched the living room, the hallway, and even upstairs. Empty. No broken windows. No open doors. Just silence. By the time I came back down, MJ had snuck inside, pale and shaking. "There's no one," she whispered. I shook my head, but the knot in my stomach told me I wasn't wrong. I knew what I had seen. We called the police. 2 officers showed up about 20 minutes later, their flashlights sweeping across the property. They searched every corner, checked the doors and windows, and even went through the basement. And just like me, they found nothing. One of them looked at me, his expression somewhere between skeptical and sympathetic. "Probably just your imagination," he said. "Reflections can play tricks at night." But I knew. MJ knew too. Still, there wasn't much else we could do. With my parents gone and no other place to stay, we were forced to spend a night in that house. We locked every door and every window. We even dragged a dresser in front of the sliding glass door. But sleep? That was impossible. Every creak of the floorboards and every groan of the house settling made us flinch. I kept the steak knife on the nightstand, gripping it so tight my hand ached. Hours crawled by. At one point, I swore I heard footsteps in the hallway outside my room, but when I worked up the courage to check, no one was there. It was a night that felt like it would never end. When the sun finally rose, relief washed over me. Maybe it really had been my imagination. Maybe we just psyched ourselves out. That is, until I walked into the kitchen. At first, I couldn't place what fell off. The counters looked the same. The fridge, the stove, the sink. It was all normal. And then I saw the knife block. Empty. Every single kitchen knife was gone. My heart stopped. I opened drawers. More things were missing. Small items. A flashlight. Batteries. A lighter. Even a pair of scissors. Someone had been there. Someone had walked through our home, stealing things while we were outside in the pool. The police came back after we reported it, but by then it was too late. Whoever it was, they were long gone. To this day, I don't know who was in my house that night. A burglar, a drifter, or someone with darker intentions. The police called it a simple break-in, but I can't help thinking they didn't take money. They didn't take jewelry. They didn't take anything of real value. They took weapons. What if the person in my house that night hadn't been there to rob me? What if they had been preparing for something else? Sometimes when I close my eyes, I think back to that shadow in the kitchen, the slow way it moved, almost deliberate, almost patient, like whoever it was wasn't just stealing from us. They were watching us and waiting. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next terrifying tale. Because next time, the shadow in the house might be yours.